the best way of putting it is how you respond to God as an individual and as a ministry, about who God is, what He's done for you. And I think we express that in everything we do, everything we say, how we live our lives.
I believe worship is that secret place that the Bible talks about, where you can go right into the throne room of God, where can you be yourself and interact and have intimacy with the Father. That's what worship is all about. Something that will change your life, or something that will impact you deeply. It's something that each one needs and everyone needs to go through.
Worship is everything to a child of God, and that's God. It's the heartbeat of God, is worship. That's why God called David a man after his own heart, because David knew how to worship God from his heart. And we need to know how to worship God from our hearts. And if we find true worship, then we find true fulfillment in your spirit, baby. Amen.
Worship to me is going into the Holy of Holies and really touching God's heart.
One thing that's important is to learn to give thanks at all times for everything, and not just think it, but to express it, to vocalize it, whether it be in a tune, a hymn, a song, a dance, even if it's giving and expressing thanks to those people around you. That's giving glory to God, and that's developing your worship lifestyle.
Worship to me is an outpouring of our hearts to God, not only in gratitude, but for who He is.
It's a way of expressing my love for God.
Is that on Sunday mornings?
Every day of my life.
Every day of your life?
Yeah, because this thing, I've got CDs in my car which I play the whole day. And I just communicate, that's my way of communicating.
For me, worship is a lifestyle. It's not for somebody who's just in the band or who plays an instrument or has a voice to sing, because to me worship is way more than just music and singing. Worship is a lifestyle, it's a heart condition, and as a believer, it is a vital part of being a believer, is to worship God in everything, whether it's just admiring the beauty of a flower, whether it's thanking God for His grace and His mercy upon our life. It's a lifestyle. Every single day is to be a day of worship to God.
Worship is for me an incredible experience because of music. The Bible tells us that God inhabits the praises of His people. And we think, or this is me, we're arrogant when we think we can just walk into the throne room without following the King's principles. And the Bible teaches me that in order to gain access to the King, I have to sing His praises first. And that is what it's all about for me in worship, is to bring down or to get together that fellowship with God, because that is when your heart and your mind and your soul, everything connects with God, and you can pick up His Spirit. Worship is just, without worship, there's nothing. Worship is just getting you into the presence of God.
It's loving God's people as well as loving God. If you love God, you love people.
So worship for me is the way you express yourself, if how big God is, how loving He is, and it's the way of praising Him, I think so.
Worship to me is not just about singing, it's about expressing yourself. It's about being real with God, who you are, the needs you have, the things you'd like to trust God for. It's about being honest with God where you are at. Worship is from the heart, and worship can happen anywhere, anytime, because it's really between you and God. And worship is music, worship is giving God glory for everything that He's doing in your life, and worship is trusting God, and also the way you live, to me, is how you worship God, through the way you live.
Come on, Bobby, you gotta do it.
It's not a chance.
No, come on, Kimberly. Come on, Kim.
gaan jou van.
Nee, not in this one.
There is udumiso uNkulunkulu. Change me, touch me, and comfort me when I'm down. And sometimes if I want to intercede for someone, and then when I get to the worshiping, it's very good.
Worship to me is total abandonment to God. It's making yourself completely vulnerable to God. If I have to think of one word that describes worship, it's adoration.
When you can see a child's heart is right in worship, then they close their eyes, they have their hands lifted up, they've got a smile on their face, and the actual glow, you can see that they are really and truly in worship. Now you get other kids that eat bubblegum, that have sweets in their mouth, and then they are totally distracted by what another child is doing. But then what we do is, as teachers, we walk around, we encourage them, we teach them, and some of the kids, when they see us walking around, automatically their eyes close. But the thing is, they know what worship is. They know exactly what they have to do when they come. They are taught well. And not only that, when they come into first-time visitors, when they come into children's church, they actually look at other children worshiping. And it's like, you know what, if they can do it, I can do it.
Worship to me is something between you and God. It's private. It's not something that you have to go and like spread with your whole friend. And it's like heart to heart, you and God alone. And yeah, you're just free to worship Him.
The worship conference, I think it's a fantastic thing. I think everybody should make a concerted effort to be there, because all of us need to learn. We are never know enough. We have to learn how to worship God, how to express our worship to God, whether that be with music, whether that be with dancing, whether that be in the Word, whatever. We need to learn how to worship God effectively.
I think it's awesome, and I think lots of young guys should get involved in it so they can learn how to get hooked up to Jesus with their praise and worship.
We've got this worship thing coming, the seminar conference, and I would encourage everybody to attend, because it's not just praise and worship leaders and bands that need to know about worship. We all need to know about worship, because, like I said earlier, that's how we get into the presence of God. So, see you at the worship seminar.
I think this year's worship conference is definitely going to the next level. If you can just feel the vibe already in the air, the advertising, everything has definitely gone to the next level. We have got great people that's going to be involved in the worship seminar. We have got good names like Jabu and Kabindi, who we've already seen at our church, the National School of the Arts.
See you at the worship seminar.